I have bad news for pear lovers. This year's crop is the smallest pear crop in the last 40 years. Yes, due to historic deep freeze conditions, the US pear production is the smallest it's ever been in 40 years. Now, here's some statistics. Growers are seeing a harvest of only two-thirds as big as the previous year. So 66% of last year. But the problem is that even last year's crop is still 31% down from the 5-year average. So it's already a bad year compared to last year, and last year wasn't a great year. So this is not good news for pears lovers. Okay.
No.
Now, here's what I didn't know, but it does make sense, is that 80% of the nation's pears come from the Northwest. Okay. So I think of that area as growing apples, but so it kind of makes sense that they grow pears as well.
Yeah.
Now, here is the problem. So the pears that they are going to be able to get to market may not look the same. So the Bosque type pear, which is like the most popular one because it's firm and dense and you can bake with it, well, it suffered the worst damage. It is down 60% compared to last year.
Oh.
But here's where it's going to get kind of not so great. Okay. So if you do find pears, which I'm going to guess they're going to be much more expensive, those pears are expected to have a russet, which basically is a large brown ring that occurs on the fruit when the blossoms, the flowers, are damaged by frost. And so it tastes exactly the same, but the appearance can be off-putting to buyers. And we've talked before about the aesthetics of especially fruits and vegetables in the produce department really determine whether or not that produce sells. So it's basically the whole, people eat with their eyes. And so what they're saying is that they're expecting two issues to kind of happen here. That if the fruit gets to the stores and it's not attractive, people aren't going to buy it. Okay. Or they have to sell it at such a discounted rate that the growers couldn't even pay the cost to harvest the pears, that basically they're not going to be able to break even at all.
Right.
They're actually going to end up owing money. So not good. The last issue is that basically over the last 3 decades, the flowering times in the pears occurred 11 days earlier compared to historical data. And so that is likely due to climate change. And so they're saying that even though 11 days doesn't sound like much, it is enough of a difference in flowering times that it can basically, the management issues go beyond just like short-term risk of actual physical damage. So, I mean, I love pears. I really do. And they're typically kind of similar to apples in far as like you get a lot of fruit for the cost. So it is kind of sad to hear that, the pear season this year is probably going to be pretty short.
Yeah.
You're going to see some higher pear prices, and you may not see that many pears.
So this is kind of where there's a service that I've used in the past. It kind of makes me want to look, see if they have pears actually, now that we're talking about it. But so it's called Misfit Market, and they buy from a lot of like smaller farms, and their model's changed over the years, but they still like their mission is to eliminate food waste, which is pretty cool. I'm
But
wondering.
they do rescued harvests. So
Mhm.
if a grower, notices that theirs is too big
Yeah.
or it's too small for
Yeah.
industry size, they will pass it on to Misfit Market and then they'll sell it at a discount. So hopefully we'll be able to see that. But also, I'm thinking that I am one of those people that if I was to go pick out pears and I didn't know that there was an issue and I saw the brown ring, I probably wouldn't buy them. And so now that I didn't know this, that if I see a brown ring, it's still going to taste the same. So at least I feel like I'm more prepared when pears do hit the market.
Yeah. Do you look like they do have them on there. They have Bosque pears, which I mean it looks a little high, but Like it's 2 pounds of Bosc pears. And they usually tell you what the defect is, which is what I really like. So like with apples, they'll tell you they're slightly blemished or slightly discolored or on the small side. And they have Bosc pears as 2 pounds for $5.49 for 2 pounds, which is still a little high, but not crazy. But that's for 2 pounds of pears, and they say they're on the small side. So like, and then there's D'Anjou pears, red and green. So like, I appreciate that like there is another avenue for looking at, fruits that are a little on the small side or a little blemished or, whatever that may be, because it allows you a different avenue, another opportunity for something that the grocery stores won't take.
Well, and this is kind of interesting too. It says that the majority of pears that we get at market are actually from like Northern California, and they have actually a longer pear season compared to other places. So late summer to early fall is pear season in New York, and you can typically find New York pears from August to October. Michigan has a short pear season around mid-August, and it's only for a month and a half. And so there's actually a bunch of other states that do grow pears and they sell them, but typically you're going to see them from like August to January. And so it's the pears that we're seeing right now, which is like January to March, are California pears. And those are the ones that are mostly affected. So
Mm,
I think that maybe once it gets to the end of the year, we may see some better prices in pears because they won't necessarily be California pears.
right.
But I guess we're just going to like fingers crossed for next year's pear season. Whenever a crop like that is affected, you have a supply and demand issue. And the
Yeah.
only thing that really sucks is that the US in general is the highest producing country of pears. So there's not even an option to just import them from somewhere else. Like we can't
Yeah.
import them from like Mexico or, other places that we do get produce.
Right.
So ooh, okay, we'll just keep an eye on that one. So tell me down below, are you a big pear lover? And are you going to be upset with the new prices that you will probably be seeing right now? And go ahead and tell me what you paid for pears if you've bought some recently.